the title of this sermon today is Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. And who knows how the rest of that goes? Who's the fairest of them all? I kind of like that title because it's today I want to teach, study, preach, whatever you want to call it, about how we look at ourselves. And I want to paint a picture for us all before we start. Imagine that you belong to Israelites, to the Jewish people. And for 40 years, you have been wandering around the desert. At one time, your fathers and grandfathers have left the land of Egypt for the new opportunity. At one time, long ago, they have set out on a journey to the promised land, the land where they will not have to be slaves, the land where they will have milk and honey flowing down, and all of the blessings of God would rain down on them. And you went on this journey, and the journey just didn't go as planned, and you were supposed to be there in 3 months, and then it was 6 months, and then the first year went by, and then the second year went by, and then 5 years later you were still in the desert, and they were telling you that the promised land was coming, and Moses was leading you, and he was the mightiest leader that you have ever seen. God himself spoke to Moses, and you appreciated and respected and honored Moses because he was the man of God. But it became long, too long. And 5 years turned into 10 years. And 10 years turned into 20 years. And 20 years turned into 25 years. And you were still in the desert. And you kept walking from one camp to another. And that was so long ago when God parted the sea. You don't even remember that. You were not even born then. But you heard stories that God parted the sea. And God fed the people with manna. And you heard all of these stories. And you even seen on occasion the cloud of God leading your people. And now it's been 40 years. 40 years. You're waiting for 40 years to come into the promised land. And you are still on this side of the Jordan River. So close, but so far. And then, to make things worse, yet Moses dies. He dies. And God buries him. And 40 years later, you're on the wrong side of the Jordan River. Moses is dead. Your grandfather and your father are dead. You have a new young leader, Joshua. And already some people are saying how he ain't no Moses. And we're not going to get anywhere with this guy. You know? And you just have this situation where you are facing the giants on the other side of the Jordan River. And Moses is gone. All the people that you depended and trusted on and had faith in and were sure were going to help you, they're dead. Those of you who lost your father and mother, you know what I'm talking about. When all of a sudden you're it. You're the man of the house. You're the woman of the house. There is nobody to back you up anymore. And this is where they found themselves, in this particular situation, 40 years later, facing the giants, facing the possibility of a total and complete and utter destruction. When they got up in the morning that day in their tent and looked into the mirror, what they see. If you are in their situation and you are getting up this morning and the 30 days of grieving for Moses are over, it's a new day, you're just getting up and you're looking in that mirror in your tent and you're looking at the totality of your life, everything that your life was and is and will be, and you're looking at these insurmountable difficulties ahead of you, what do you see? What do you see? Some people, they see failure, despair. 4 things they see: failure and despair. They see insurmountable obstacles, and they see a possibility of a total and utter destruction. That's what they see. And they got up that morning, and that's what they see. And yet somewhere there in the background, God keeps saying, don't be discouraged. But how are you not discouraged if you're facing the failure, for example, of marriage? Been married for 30 years. And one morning you got up, and your husband is gone. 30 years you've been together. And he's gone. He found another woman. He doesn't want to be with you anymore. And you gave your everything to this person for 30 years, and now he just dumped you, left you. You got to think failure, depression. You've been on a job and you've been doing your work perfectly and you're on time every single morning and you're putting in 110%, and you come early and you leave late, and you are kissing, you know what, your boss, just so that, because there is that one promotion that's coming up, that one, just one. And it's yours and you're working for it so hard. And you're doing everything. And then he gives it to somebody else. And that one promotion, your promotion, is gone. You don't have it anymore. Now you can work another 5 years, and you can go through jump through all the hoops all over again to get back there, and then you are thinking, failure. This is failure. I talked to a person, called me, a guy says, Pastor Gordon, he's been out of a job and receiving government aid for 99 months. Or what is it? Not 99 months, 99 weeks. 99 weeks. And that's now coming to an end. $300 a week. And he says to me, I'll probably sleep under the bridge here in a few weeks. Failure. Insurmountable obstacles. When you are looking at a problem ahead of you and you don't think that it could be it can be fixed. You have a mortgage that you can't make. You don't have a job. You're down on your payments. You're in a hole. And you're looking at that thing and you're saying, this is insurmountable. I cannot overcome this. There is no way I can overcome this. An illness comes into a person's life when you least expect it. Irreparable relationships. Insurmountable. And you get up in the morning and you're in your tent and you look in that mirror and you say, there is no way I can do this. There's no way I can go into the land of the giants and defeat them. There is no way out. I am facing a total and utter destruction. I have a friend at the Adventist Mission Center. His name is Al, and I need your prayers for him. A year ago, he was diagnosed with stomach cancer, and they removed his stomach. And he lived on liquid diets for a year. And I just talked to another buddy, and he says they gave Al 3 months to live. Because the cancer is back in his body and everywhere else. And after church today, I'm going to the University Hospital to visit him. And I thought to myself, what would I do if the doctor told me you have 3 months to live? There was something growing in you and you never even knew about it, and now you got 3 months to live. What would you do? Insurmountable difficulty. And then, on top of that, if you approach life the wrong way, that causes even more problems. Because Satan, our great enemy, he wants to use all of these circumstances to push you down even further. So when you get up in the morning and you look at everything around you, you can go one way or the other way, but one way is Satan's way. And he wants to help you to be defeated even more by helping you to engage in negative thinking. And today, how many people think negative thoughts can be done? There is no way I can do that. How many of you here in this room use these words, I can't? I can't. I can't. I hear that all the time. I can't. I can't do it. Cannot be done. I can't do it. I don't know how many millions of times I have heard that in my life. I just want you to think for 1 second about your life. Because every single person has one of those things in their life. What is one thing in your life that you are 100% convinced that it cannot be done? Just cannot be done. You have convinced yourself. Your parents have convinced you. Your boss has convinced you. Your husband has convinced you. The society has convinced you. And there is that one thing in your life that you know for a fact that it cannot be done. I just want you to think about what that one thing in your life that can't be done is, and just put it on a paper discreetly so the person next to you can't peek into your innermost secrets. Or you can do it later. You can do it later. On one thing that you know cannot be done. You can't do it. So that's one, negative thinking, where we just go down this road of saying there is no way we can defeat these giants and take over the promised land. It's just not going to happen. Another one is criticizing yourself. And a lot of people have this bad habit, of criticizing themselves for everything that has ever happened in their life. Did I ever tell you that about a month or so ago, I don't even know how long ago, in June, I decided to go on a 100-mile bicycle ride. It's called Elephant Rock here in Castle Rock. And it's a 100-mile long bicycle trip. And just before that, I was in Mexico, and I didn't have time really to work out that good. And I don't have a good road bike. See, I'm giving you all the excuses now, I don't have a good road bike and everything else. And then when I came back from my Mexico trip, I had a little bit of time to, go ride the bike. And the day came, the Sunday of the race came, and I went down at 5 o'clock in the morning. I got up, and I took the mountain bike that Gary gave me and went down to Castle Rock, and I decided to ride 100 miles. And I'm at that point 198 pounds, and I'm not really in shape. And I get on that bike, and the first thing that we are doing is we are totally climbing uphill. And then I came, I kept riding and riding and riding and riding. And I'm hurting. And it wasn't my legs. I could turn the legs. But at one point I realized that the human butt was not made for a bicycle seat. Just the two do not go together. And I felt like I was going into a butt shock. I just couldn't do it anymore, And finally I came to that one point in the road where it says 100-milers this way and 62-milers this way. And I got off of the bike and I'm walking like this, And I said, forget this. I'm going to do 62 miles. There is no way I'm doing 100 miles today. So I did 62 miles. And by the time I came to the finish line, about 1.5 miles away from the finish line, the sun was just baking that day. I couldn't do it. I got off of the bike, and I just lay down on the sidewalk like this, right there in Castle Rock, 1 mile away from the campgrounds. And the moment I did that, this medic comes over, because they got medics and cops and everybody, And the guy comes over, sir, can we help you? Are you okay? I hope you're not having a heart attack. I'm like, please leave me alone. I'm dying here, So I finally finished that ride. I couldn't walk for a week. And the whole week I'm blaming myself. You should have lost more weight. You should have worked out more. You should have done this. You should have done that. You should have had a different bike, a road bike, not millions of excuses, and I'm just blaming myself all week long. And then finally, one day I took a bike over to the bicycle shop right here on the corner, to have them tighten do whatever they do. And the guy says, and we start talking, and I say to a guy, I did 62 miles at the Elephant Rock. And the guy says, looks at me, really? I said, yeah. He says, on that bike? I said, yeah. He says, that's fantastic. And at that point, I realized that instead of being happy for accomplishing something nice in my life, I spent the whole week blaming myself for not doing something more. And I missed out on enjoying the fact that I did something nice. And we do that in life. We blame ourselves. If I should have done this, I should. Stop. Please stop. Just enjoy the moment. Enjoy the good things that you have accomplished in your life. Hating yourself. As a pastor, I've heard often young people say to me, Pastor, I hate myself. I hate my life. How many of you parents have heard this? I hate my life. I hate my life. I hate myself. And some people, they go so far, some young people, that they just take their life because they don't think it's good enough. That's what Satan does. And the result of these 4 ways of thinking is that you become dysfunctional or you become less than functional. You stop accomplishing things in your life. You stop enjoying life. You stop being happy. And Satan wins. Negative thinking has invaded America on a national level and on the individual level. There is prophets of doom everywhere. Every time I turn on the TV, America is no good. Government is no good. We are all going to go bankrupt. We are all going to die, And I have a different perspective. I'm sure Eldin has a different perspective, and I have a different perspective because we came from a different country. He came from Indonesia. I came from Yugoslavia. And I'm thinking about all of these people who are complaining about federal government. Go to Mexico, see what federal government does over there. Go 6 months, live in Indonesia or Yugoslavia or Africa or Asia. Then come back and complain about how everything is bad in America. It's one of the greatest countries in the world. We got one of the best systems in the world. As much as we complain about it, it's still the best of any other. We got the freedom to enjoy, to do, to work, to make money, to start your own business. Import, export, do whatever you want. The whole world is on your plate. The system was designed that the person can succeed if they want to. And yet everybody is complaining. And I believe that national level negative thinking has also come into our personal lives. And many people are just thinking in terms of despair and defeat instead of future and winning and doing great things in your life. And we are focusing so much on the immediate little problems that can be solved. This is a powerful country that solved its problems for hundreds of years, and I believe it's going to solve its problems again. That's what I believe. And you become fearful and not willing to take chances and satisfied with status quo. And Israelites, after Moses died, that's where they were. Everything around them was bad. Christians should be positive people. If America is going to turn around, it needs to turn around with Christians. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to give you a reason why. And the reason is Isaiah 49:16. This is why you and I should be the most positive people on the face of this planet. And I'm going to read this out of Amplified Bible translation. And this is what it says. Behold, I have indelibly imprinted a picture of you on the palm of each of my hands. That's what God says. He says, behold. In other words, stop, wait, think again, reconsider. Literally, this text says, I have tattooed a picture, your picture, on the palm of each one of my hands. That's what God says. That's what the Bible says. So when you get up in the morning and you look into the mirror and the totality of your life and everything that was and that is and that it will be, you need to remember this one thing, that your face is imprinted on God's hands. And then you decide, which direction am I going this morning? Am I going in the direction of despair and negativity? Or am I going in the direction of positivity and happiness and joy because I'm in God's hands? He cares for me. And I think we don't have miracles in our lives often because we go the wrong direction. We go through this door over here where Satan is leading us, where there is nothing but despair and negativity and defeat. And God is not in that room. You go into that room, you're by yourself. You're dealing with your problems by yourself. But when you go into this other room, into this other area, where the reality of life is that you are imprinted on God's hands, in that room is where the miracles happen. In that room is where that one thing that you wrote down that can never be done in your life can be done in your life. So it's a state of mind. Where is your mind? How do you think? And when you know that you're imprinted on God's hands, then that's what you should project to the rest of the world. When you see yourself how God sees you, that's when you get your power back. That's when you get your peace and strength. That's when you get your wings. That's when you become unstoppable. Is when you finally see yourself the way God sees you. Psalm 27:14 says, wait and hope for and expect the Lord. That's what it says. Wait and hope for and expect the Lord. Be brave and of good courage, and let your heart be stout and enduring. Stout and enduring. Yes, wait for and hope for and expect the Lord. "40 years later, when everything went to pot, God comes and speaks to them. And on the back of your outline is Joshua chapter 1, verses 1 through 9. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just read a couple of verses. Well, maybe I should read the whole thing. It's just awesome. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' minister, Moses, my servant, is dead. So now arise, take his place, go over this Jordan. Go over this Jordan? That's where the giants are. You and all these people into the land which I'm giving to them, the Israelites. Every place upon which the sole of your foot shall tread, that have I given to you as I promised Moses. From the wilderness in this Lebanon to the great river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great Mediterranean Sea on the west shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not fail you or forsake you. And then God says, be strong, confident, of good courage, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give to them. And then again God says, only you be strong and very courageous, that you may do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Turn not from it to the right or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. That's what God said 40 years later to them. And 40 years later, when Moses died, when all the elders died, when all the people that were strong and powerful died, that's when God took the remnant, the people who were left, and led them into the promised land. With a young guy without the experience. And with the young people without the experience or confidence. Because God doesn't need Moses to accomplish something great. God can use anybody. God can use you. And the same things, the same principle applies in your life. And God says to you, be courageous. Be strong. Be positive. Remember that you are imprinted on the palms of my hands. When you do that, that's when God does a miracle in your life. So what do you do now, today? I say what each one of us has to do is we need to put our life in order. By that, I mean we need to decide that we are going to have a relationship with Jesus more than anything else in life. We need to decide when we get up in the morning and look into that mirror, we are going to remember that we are etched out on the palms of His hands, and according to those words, we are going to live our day, that day, and every day from then on. When you know that your picture is in God's hands, what does that do for you? What does that do for you today, right now? That's got to make a difference in your life. That's got to give you faith and positivity and strength. This is not about some kind of a step-by-step seminar where you learn how to go from point A to point Z in order to accomplish something. This is not about it. This is about supernatural. This is about miracles. This is about the world of spirits. This is about the world that we do not see or understand. This is not about logic. This is not about hard work. This is not about certain rules or processes. This is about God doing a miracle in your life. And in order for that to happen, you need to be in the right frame of mind. That's the bottom line. So as you are thinking about what I'm saying to you, as we are communicating here, how do you see yourself? What kind of a person are you? You a negative person? Are you a person who dwells on your defeats and failures? But you know what? More important question is this. What kind of a person do you want to be? What kind of a person do you want to be as of today? That's the most important question. I hope that God gives you the wisdom and the strength to choose the right frame of mind, to choose to remember that you are the single most important person in God's life. And when that happens, the miracles are going to happen. God bless you.